Just want to make sure that the sound's coming through all right. Of course, I literally started the stream and my mic was not even working. I can't even begin to describe that the fact that I was beginning streaming and you couldn't hear me. That just goes to show how my day is going essentially at this point with Liverpool. Move the chat right there. Pathetic. Liverpool have been utterly pathetic so far this season, particularly the past month or so. Let me update where my talking points are because I'm on my second talking point, and of course, I have to go through everything. Let's just start with the game today. I think that that's probably, an appropriate place to begin our conversation about the current state of Liverpool Football Club, which the current state is shit. Horrendous. Awful. Embarrassing. Terrible. Liverpool today against Burnley. Now look, first half, don't really have too many complaints. I think Soboslai has to finish that penalty. That, of course, for whatever reason, just watching the aftermath of the game and stuff like that, that seemed to have been one of the biggest talking points was people saying, "Oh, Soboslai missed the penalty in the first half." Of course, that's not helpful. I think if Liverpool went 1-0 up that early, and then let's say if we go 2-0 up from the Wirtz, we're probably having a different stream. We're probably having a different outlook on this entire situation. But the reality is, that's not what happened. Liverpool. Actually said Curtis Jones is terrible. You're wilding, Ash. The reality is Liverpool are flat. Liverpool have no urgency whatsoever when they play, especially when they get into the attacking third. Everything's terrible. Everything's terrible. Our pattern of play, terrible. Defensively, not great. I do have to say, the only thing I will give a little bit credit to Slot on is Burnley's goal. I do think Alisson probably should have done better on it. Love Alisson, of course, but it's not like the worst attempt I've ever seen. But I do, at a certain point, question I do think Alisson probably should have done better on it. In general, though, Liverpool and the problem I have is Liverpool were better up until we conceded a goal. Liverpool were actually, this is one of the better performances I've seen from Liverpool, literally up until we conceded a goal. Once we conceded a goal, everything went out the window. Then our urgency in the attacking third went out the window. Everything just literally spiraled downhill once we conceded a goal. And I obviously think that, of course, is the manager. He needs to take accountability for that. But there were several times towards the end of the game where I'm watching Liverpool, right? And we get the ball out wide to one of our wingers. Obviously, Burnley set defensively, but then there's no movement off of the ball from any of our players. They're all in the box, standing completely stationary, I guess hoping a cross will come in and then we'll get on the end of that cross. But that there's no movement to try to create a different opportunity. It's just stationary Liverpool players in the Burnley box. I don't understand what on earth we're expecting to get out of that when literally there's just no dynamic movement from the Liverpool players. None of them. Wirtz's goal, I'll say this, very, very well taken. I thought Florian Wirtz played very, very well today. A couple other performances. Frimpong, I thought, did all right. I don't really have any issues with Jeremy Frimpong's performance. Ekitike, a little bit more quiet than I would have liked him to be. Obviously, in the second half, there was a goal that was ruled offsides. I don't think he expected the ball to come to him in that instance, and that's why he probably wasn't in offsides position. So I'll cut him a little bit of slack there. But outside of that, Liverpool have just been they weren't good enough. I don't understand how you're dominant over the game, and then you concede a goal, and then after conceding a goal, at that point you decide, oh yeah, we're actually going to play worse football than when we were completely in charge of the game. I for the life of me, I don't get. And now, granted, this entire situation is coming on the heels of, obviously, the Mark Gahey going to City News. Mark Gahey, who on the 1st of September was announced as a Liverpool player, right, was supposed to transfer to Liverpool. The deal fell through. 4.5 months later, he decides he's going to go to Manchester City for 40 million or something like that. Not 40 million, 20 million. Apologies. So we're playing so bad that players that we have strong links to are actively choosing to play elsewhere rather than at Liverpool. And people can word this however they want. That is what happened with the Gahey situation. Everything I've seen, all the reports leading up to this, was that Mark Gahey wanted to go to Liverpool. Liverpool was the destination where he wanted to land at. Then, Liverpool go on a run of games where we're playing shit, and Mark Gahey signs with Manchester City in the winter transfer window for 20 million. Now, granted, and I've talked about this a little bit on other platforms, but I think that the people that are arguing that City got such a bargain for him, no, you didn't. You're getting 20 million for approximately 16 games or something like that. It's not that much of a bargain. And City don't look great either right now. But nevertheless, I would even argue that City are look better than Liverpool right now. I don't think a lot of people, and this is where the people that are slot in piss me off to no end, is that I don't think that a large part of our fan base understands how far we are from Arsenal in terms of quality. Miles off of Arsenal. Our fan base doesn't like to talk about it because also, too, with this new online era and stuff like that, our fan base has developed this weird animosity and rivalry with Arsenal that never was a thing. Granted, it's another big English team, so there's always going to be a little bit of a rivalry, but you have Liverpool fans basically being like, oh, I would rather City win the league than Arsenal. Weird. But nevertheless, I don't think, and especially the fact that we drew them, which we actually played decent in that game, I don't think our fans really have a firm understanding of how far off we are of Arsenal. Arsenal are better than us in every metric. Going forward, they're better than us. Better in the midfield. They have the best defense in the Premier League. We're so far off of Arsenal, it's not even funny. Liverpool today what I saw from Liverpool today, and what I firmly believe with this club, we play down to our opponents. We play at the standard of our opponent this season. It's the truth. It's why that we played well against Arsenal, but we don't play well against teams like Burnley, because we just play to the level of our opponent every week in and week out. I've seen it this entire season. All I've seen is these performances from Liverpool. And people will say, well, no, we started the season well. No, we fucking didn't. We had a couple games where we got late goals and put us at the top of the Premier League. Like, moments of brilliance really stuck out as well to put us into the position that we're in currently. It's not like Liverpool have been that great that we haven't been. We haven't been. I'll go a step further. Liverpool won the Premier League last season, and a large part of it was due to the fact that Arsenal and Manchester City did not play well. And that's not to take away what Arne Slot did last season, because he won a Premier League. Don't matter how you get there, it's the fact that you win the Premier League. But this Arsenal team is not like last Arsenal team. Charlotte said, have to watch this later after I get home. Just walked out of the pub to avoid losing the plot with the fans saying it's Salah's fault. We didn't win because he wasn't playing. I despair. We need Salah back. And safe travels back home, Charlotte. But yeah, no, it's far more than Salah. It's far more than Salah. Yeah, it's far more than Salah. It's the whole nine. It's the back four. It's the midfield. It's the front three. It's the pattern of play. The pattern of play is horrendous right now. It's one of the I'm talking about, like, I think Liverpool played better football under Brendan Rodgers than we do right now with Arne Slot. It's really, really, like, we have no urgency when we play. None. No urgency. Our front three, no urgency. The midfield, there's got to be, if Liverpool are going to, and this is the part that I won't even bring Slot into the equation. If Liverpool are going to compete for the Premier League and in Europe next season, there's going to have to be a real look at some of the players that are in our roster. No, like, we need to have a hard look at the Cody Gakpos, Curtis Jones, Kirkez, even. We signed him, and that's just, horrendous. Hold on one sec, guys. Sorry, my heat is cooking right now in my house. I just had to turn it down. Over here sweating. Yeah, no, it's pathetic. It's really, honestly and truthfully, I'm Slot out. Like, Liverpool have to go on a run of form. I turned to my wife after this game, after the full whistle, and I said he might get the sack off of this. Like, that very well might happen. Drawing at home to Burnley is not good. This is a result that cannot happen for Liverpool Football Club. Cannot. Drawing at home. And if this was like the only result out of, several games where, maybe Liverpool were playing well, things of that nature, I would maybe have a different outlook on it. But I'm going to run through Liverpool's games so far in 2026. Just because it's, the 17th, Liverpool have played, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games so far in 2026. So we started 2026 on the 1st of January, and we drew 0-0 to Leeds. Now, I also want to remind you, we drew 0-0 to Leeds, a team that was newly relegated, at Anfield. Okay? At Anfield. Drew 2-2 to Fulham. That was away. Drew 0-0 to Arsenal. That was away. Now, starting the year off with 3 draws in a row is bad, but drawing against Fulham, I'm not going to lose sleep over. I think Fulham are an okay team. Drawing against Leeds is pathetic. We've drawn against Leeds twice this season. We're draw FC this year. That, pathetic. 4-1 to Barnsley. Mind you, I want to point this out. We were only 2-1 up against Barnsley up until we subbed on Wirtz and Ekitike, and we went up 4-1. But it was on the score sheet a lot closer of a game than it should have been through 85 minutes. And then, of course, we draw to Burnley. At home. Since the beginning of 2026, we have drawn at home to newly relegated sides twice, 2 games. Drew away against Arsenal. That's a good result. I won't hold that they're going to be the champions. The fact that we got 4 points this season on who I believe will be the champions, I think that's an okay result. I'm not losing sleep over that. Then drew at Craven Cottage. Bad game. We didn't play well, but probably a little unfortunate that we drew because the guy from Fulham pulled up and had a belter from 35 yards out. But nevertheless, Liverpool are gutless this season. Gutless. Charlotte, before she left us, wrote in the chat about how we're going to get, something about Salah. And Salah's coming back. That will help, I do believe, because what will happen is we'll actually be able to put Szoboszlai in midfield again. Whether he's a little further back or whether we push him into the 10 and Wirtz out left. I think that would probably be the best to just get Gakpo off the pitch. The thing is with Gakpo that really bothers me is I don't think Cody Gakpo is a bad player, but I do not think Cody Gakpo fits the style of football that Liverpool should be playing, and I think we've had Gakpo for long enough that it's shit or get off the pot with him at this point. It's we've been watching Cody Gakpo for years now at this point. I don't know. It is we were okay with getting rid of Darwin because Darwin obviously was never great for Liverpool, but what about Gakpo? Is Gakpo the real answer to Liverpool's issues? Is he the adequate replacement for Luis Diaz? It's very clear that Liverpool thought he was going to be the replacement for Diaz, and I don't think he's done good enough. Sorry. Arne Slot won't think that because he's got this weird affinity for Cody Gakpo. Don't understand why. It's clearly because he's Dutch. And on the back of this whole Gahey situation happening, all I've seen is that Liverpool are apparently interested in trying to sign the likes of Mickey Van de Ven from Spurs. Spurs. Thomas Frank might get the sack before the end of the day as well. They've lost to West Ham today. That's a shit result for them. Great result for West Ham. Don't get me wrong, but Spurs losing to West Ham. Oh my God, that's awful. And then we of course have a game on Wednesday midweek against Marseille. I'd like to hope that Liverpool are going to win that game. Not if they play like this. It's just the fact of the matter. Then we have Bournemouth. Yeah. Bournemouth next weekend. Probably will lose. I say probably lose. Liverpool don't lose games. We just draw every game. Like, it's not like we're losing these games. We're drawing against shitty teams. It's just horrendous. We draw against Burnley and Leeds at Anfield. And we have, and the pathetic part is, we get these results, and we still have people saying, slot in, give him time. Give him time. Come off it. I'm so sick of this. You know, I honestly and truthfully, I don't like talking about Slot in this way because I don't like disrespecting the guy, considering that he won the Prem last year with Liverpool. It's not fun to have a manager who's had... And look, winning the Premier League at one point in my life was something that, like, you know, I'm 29 years old. Like, at one point, I'd questioned if Liverpool would ever win the Premier League. And then we won it in 2020. And, of course, it's a real Premier League with the COVID year. But you had people that basically doubted it. And meanwhile, we won the league in, like, February. Or we had it basically won in February. So, getting that second Premier League last season meant a lot. You know, it really did. Like, after watching years of Manchester City dominating the Premier League week in and week out, finally being the best team in the Prem felt good. And then seeing the attraction that we got from top players in the transfer market, like Wirtz, one of the biggest prospects, wanted to come to Liverpool. Same thing with Isak. Same thing with the likes of Kirkez, Ekitike. All of these players that we brought in wanted to come to Liverpool because it was off of the heels of what Arne Slot accomplished last season. So I don't want to disrespect the guy in terms of what he's accomplished at Liverpool. But he needs to go. He's not doing well enough with Liverpool. And for a while, we had a bad run of form, and I said, why? Yeah, I obviously don't think he should get the sack, but do we really have adequate replacements? Are there going to be managers that could potentially take over for us as well? And you know, even just look at the likes of what Michael Carrick has done for United today. Everyone was saying that Michael Carrick, you know, was a bad decision to take over United. United looked good today. United looked good today, better today than they did for months under Amorim. We saw Kobe Mainu play today. I think Kobe Mainu played for a full 90 minutes. Very, very good performance from him. A very good English talent that, for whatever reason, the former manager did not want to play and was not a part of his system. And the thing that always got criticized from Amorim was the system, the patterns of play. We saw Manchester United literally in their first game under Michael Carrick win the Manchester Derby and be the better team. Massive result for them. So when I see, you know, this happen at United, and I look at Liverpool and I go, well, we don't have anyone to have a similar caretaker type position. All we have is Slot or no one. It's not good. And I'll tell you what, too. Liverpool, at this point, are not like we're going to struggle in the Premier League if we keep him. These are results that are supposed to be money in the bank. We're in a top 4 race. We're not just 110% going to get top 4. We're in 4th place. We're about 7 points off Villa, who play tomorrow. So if Villa beat Everton tomorrow, we'll be 10 points back from Villa in 3rd. But United are 1 point under us. Chelsea are 2 points under us. Brentford are 3 points under us. Sunderland are 3 points under us. And Newcastle are 4 points under us and still have to play this weekend. So if they win, they'll also be 1 point under us. So what we have currently is Liverpool dropping all these results and not giving us an opportunity to really firmly put ourselves in the top 4. We're in a top 4 race now. We need to pick up results. Who on earth feels confident that Slot is going to be the guy to get the results that we need in this back part of the season to make sure that we're playing Champions League football next year? I genuinely don't believe he's the guy. I genuinely don't. Like, I watch every Liverpool game. Every single Liverpool game. And I can't help but feel like he is not going to be the person that could firmly get us Champions League football next season. Confidently. United picked up a result today. Chelsea picked up a result today. Why are we... This was a big drop in points today. And I understand the argument against it. Well, who are we going to have him replace? Who's going to replace Slot then? Right? Like, who is going... If Slot's not the guy and we can't get Xabi Alonso in, who's the guy? I've heard Gerrard tossed out there. And Gerrard would be a caretaker-like position similar to Michael Carrick. Knows the club. I don't think that that's necessarily the best decision. But these are the things that need to be talked about now. Because we can't go on with Slot. We really can't. It can't go on like this. I don't care what anyone has to say about it. It can't. It just cannot go on like this. I genuinely, I don't know if there's been a interview that's dropped with Slot, a post-match interview. I'm going to keep my eyes on it to see if potentially one drops, because I think he has to offer an explanation. We need answers. Well, why are we dropping points at home to Burnley? It doesn't make sense. There's no reason we should be dropping points to Burnley at home. This should be a team, the likes of Burnley, Leeds, West Ham, teams in that caliber and in that place in the table. These should be football teams that we are getting 6 points out of a season. We've gotten 2 out of Leeds. Drew them home and away. And the club need to make a decision on Slot, and they need to do it soon. I've I've seen a lot of people say that with Slop, they think that he'll probably stay to the end of the season, and then ultimately, that will be when the club and him part ways. I don't want that because I'm not confident that Slot will get us Champions League football. And if we do that, I'll be real with you guys. If we get Slot, if we just keep Slot as manager until the end of the season, and then we sack Slot, and we don't get Champions League football, all I will be thinking to myself is, why on earth do we not do this in January? What, like, we look like shit right now as it is. Why don't we sack him now, bring someone else in? How much worse could it get? Like my whole outlook is, if we don't get Champions League, what is the point of us, like, just trying to put ourselves in a position to where we're going to have to battle for a Champions League spot when we know we should be doing better? I don't get it. I'll never get it. I'll look and see if we got a Arne Slot post-match interview. I need a post-match interview from this fucking guy. Like, I need this guy to explain himself for why we're drawing at home to Burnley. Questions need to be asked. Someone on my TikTok said, F that fraud, sack him now. What's the result of the game that's going on currently? Nil-nil. Arsenal at home, or away at Forest. I expect Arsenal to be able to win that game. I guess we'll go through some of the other talking points while the stream is a bit dead. We went through Liverpool, Burnley. We went through Slot out. Coming back, United 2-0 against Manchester City. City are lucky to have honestly only conceded 2 goals. There was a late third from Mason Mount that I thought it looked onside. I don't know what everyone else's coverage looked like, but while I was watching the game, it looked like Cunha's run was onside, and they were reviewing it, and they didn't show us. It was like eerily similar to the Luis Diaz goal from years ago against Spurs for Liverpool, but they weren't showing the lines, and that was pissing me off. I'm like, if we're reviewing this, and I could care less about the result of the game now at this point as a Liverpool supporter, but I was like, I want to see the lines. Like, if he's offsides, I want to see proof of why Cunha's offsides. They didn't provide it, and that's just freaking the Premier League and the PGMOL. Yeah, it's just bullshit. But ultimately, it really didn't matter because United at that point were pretty in control of the game. 2-0 into added time. The third would have almost just added insult to injury. But that's a really solid result for United. Like I said earlier in the stream, United are now really pushing for top four. Independent of the fact that it's a good result for United, I also thought it was a really good performance from them as well. I think it speaks to, Carrick's gotten a lot of criticism, and I don't even think necessarily the appointment of Carrick has gotten criticism in the sense that, how able is Carrick going to be able to get the results that United needed, but rather the fact that it was very similar to, Ferguson wants Carrick in at the job, so we're going to appoint Carrick. So that happened. Sorry, I just got a weird error on my screen. Hope I'm still live. But yeah, good result from United. Like I said, I couldn't care less about the game, to be entirely real with you. I don't care if United win or City win. City, I guess, winning would have been better for the league and better for Liverpool in the sense that now United are on our heels, especially because we're pathetic and we drop points to Burnley. But it makes the title race a little less entertaining, especially if Arsenal win today, which I expect them to win at Forest. Chelsea 2-0 against Brentford. Good result for Liam Rosenior. Listen, I think I definitely... Oh, here we go. Why, though, said, let's be honest, it's not entirely Slot's fault today. The players don't take their chances. Look, I'll never say that the performance today... The players, I agree with you, did not perform well in the sense that they weren't finishing their chances. Why, though? But our run of play is pathetic to watch. That's the difference, man. As I was saying earlier in the stream, you might not have been live at that point, but I'm not going to say that these players are not worthy of criticism. They 110% are, and I think that Liverpool, whether Slot's the manager or not, need to take a step back in this upcoming, whether it's the winter transfer window or especially in the summer transfer window, who has been hanging around Liverpool for a couple of years and really isn't good enough. I think the likes of Cody Gakpo, Curtis Jones, Kirkes, I think could use a little bit more time, but I don't necessarily think he's great. I think Liverpool are being a little tough on Konate, and they're not going to re-sign him because he hasn't been that great. And I think that Liverpool need to start doing that with players before their contract runs out. That's important. Like, I don't disagree that the players were not great today. I fully agree. But when we get possession of the ball in the attacking third and our run of play, there's no urgency, there's no movement from the players, that's how Slot has us play. He's got to go. I'm not saying that the players are playing great, but this manager's got to go. Going back to some of the results today, like I said, Chelsea 2-0 against Brentford at Stamford Bridge. Look, good result there from Liam Rosenior. Obviously didn't watch the game. It was at the same time as the Liverpool game. But, listen, Brentford are not an easy team to play this season. So I think that's a good result for Chelsea. Why, though, said, only positive today is our new signing. Signings are getting better, especially Wirtz. Wirtz was I agree with you. Wirtz was probably the bright spot in an otherwise, shitty day. His goal was taken great. There was a couple other opportunities that he had today that it was like, if he just gets like the one last touch or the ball's just right for him or something like that, I think he finishes or creates a couple more chances. I think Wirtz was probably our best player on the pitch today, undoubtedly. Feel a bit bad for him that the game didn't go our way, because I think if we win, and especially off the heels of that first goal from Wirtz, I definitely think the narrative would have been a bit different, because I agree with you. I do think he played quite well. And he's coming into his own, I would say, Wirtz is. Definitely coming into his own. Definitely fun to watch. Yeah, all in all, pretty good from Wirtz. Going back to their results, Leeds beat Fulham 1-0. That's a good result for Leeds. Leeds, I think, are going to stay up this season. It'll be interesting who the third team to go down is, because, I do expect, I would be shit shocked if Wolves don't go down, but Wolves are going to go down. Burnley, I think, are going to go down. That third team's going to be interesting, because it's going to be like, West Ham, Leeds, Forest are in and around there. That's going to be really, really tough. You have Forest, West Ham, Bournemouth, and Spurs are not that far off. I think if you're really to make a educated guess, it would probably be West Ham. But they picked up a result again today, and if Arsenal beat Forest, they'll be only 4 points off Forest. But Leeds' result today is really, really important, because that puts Leeds about 8 points clear of West Ham. That's a lot of comfortability. I think it's going to come down to Forest or West Ham. I would guess Forest, or I would guess West Ham rather, but we'll see. We'll see how that all pans out. Some other results. Sunderland Palace 1-1. Decent enough result, I guess, for... No, wait. Sunderland beat Palace 2-1. I was looking at the Liverpool score. My bad. Sunderland are good. I mean, Palace are losing arguably their best player. It's going to be tough for them. And then also, too, their manager came out and said that he's leaving at the end of the season. If I was to guess, I would guess that he's being propped up for the United job. Because it just makes so much sense. It's like he would, say that, but with United obviously only putting Carrick in a caretaker position. Why, though, said, what manager do you think we should get? Because if we sign Alonso now, we could miss out on Luis Enrique. All right. Here's my whole thing, right? If we don't, hypothetically, why though? If we keep Alonso, or if we keep Slot in the role that he's at, you could also argue that by the end of the season, Alonso could find a new job, and we're putting all of our eggs into the basket of Luis Enrique. I don't think that if Liverpool were to move on from Slot, I would not be surprised if they put someone in a caretaker role. I'll be honest. I was saying a little earlier, United, they sack Amorim. They play today with Carrick, and everyone was basically saying that Carrick was unqualified, not good enough. But just this simple change of putting Michael Carrick in and changing things for Manchester United, United looked better today than I've seen them for months under, maybe ever, under Ruben Amorim. So I wouldn't be surprised if we put someone in that caretaker role. Who would we do? You could do Gerrard, Klopp are like the two most obvious answers. Realistically, I think Liverpool are probably going to keep Slot until the end of the season, and then they're going to part ways. That's probably the most likely. I think also, too, if you're going to compare both Alonso and Luis Enrique, I would guess Alonso is a higher likelihood that we get him in at the club versus Enrique. I don't. there is a chance Enrique, especially, Enrique has now managed in multiple top leagues. I would love if he was at Liverpool, especially seeing what he did at PSG. I would love him at the club. I would also love Alonso at the club. I would definitely say those are the two managers that I would like at Liverpool, probably on the top of my short list for a replacement for Slot. It's just a matter of what to do. It's getting to a point where I feel like Liverpool should make a change now. A draw at home to Burnley, like I said, we have not won a game in the Premier League so far in 2026. We played like 3 or 4 games so far this year, and we have not won any in the Premier League. And that can't be. And it's not like it was a hard string of games. At home against Leeds, at home against Burnley, you should win those 2 games. Fulham away, okay, we should win that game, but I guess a draw is not the worst. And then, of course, a draw against Arsenal is a good result for us, especially considering it was away. But we can't just go about drawing against shitty teams or shitty to mid-table teams, and expect that is going to be what's going to get us in the Champions League. And that ultimately looks like what the run of form under Slot is going to be. Because we're not dangerous going forward. There's no urgency. The players aren't dynamic. There's no runs really being put in and things like that. Counter-attacking runs. It's slow. And we saw it actually a bit more in the first half, but I said it earlier in the stream. The thing that really bothered me more than anything was Liverpool went down, or Burnley equalized, and Liverpool's performance got worse after we conceded a goal. That can't be a thing. We can't be playing decent, concede a goal, and then play worse. That makes no sense. Salah coming back will help. What Salah coming back will mean for the team, we'll have to wait and see, because Szoboszlai will come back in the midfield, okay. Does that mean Wirtz goes out on the left? I like when Wirtz plays out on the left, especially when we have Hugo down the middle, because I think Wirtz and Ekitike play quite well together. So, and then, you could have Mo and Frimpong on the right. Of course, unfortunately, Connor Bradley is probably going to be out for the season. So, you're going to have a lot of pace on that right-hand side. We should be looking to get forward and transition a lot more. I want to see Andy Robertson play more as well. I don't know why Kirkez is just a out-and-outright starter for us, but that's Slot's team. That's Slot ball. That's what he likes to do. So, yeah, I will agree with you. It's got to be Lonzo or Enrique. Replacing the manager mid-season can often be shitty because, you get into a position to where it's who's going to be the real replacement. You don't really know. It sucks. But everyone, I'm going to run for today. Decent enough stream. Probably hop on again at some point in the upcoming week. Keep a eye out for the videos, obviously. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. Check out my other videos. Thank you all. See you on the next one. Peace.